Holy Cross Innscourt Green had an interesting guest for their monthly family service recently. It was Bishop John Rusabamalia. Did you enjoy coming to Holy Cross's family service?
I did enjoy.
Yes. In what way? How was it different from services in Africa?
Well, the difference was that the number in the congregation was small. The church was not quite full. At home, the church is full and sometimes overfull.
Yes. How interesting. What is a bishop doing in England?
I'm studying.
Yes, you're studying.
Yes.
Whereabouts?
I'm studying at Trinity College, Bristol.
Yes. How long for?
For 15 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then you're going to go back to Tanzania, the country where you've come from, to the diocese of, where is it, what's it called?
Victoria Nyanza.
Victoria Nyanza. Then you're going to be the assistant bishop.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about the diocese where you come from, Bishop.
Well, the diocese is around Lake Victoria, which I think you should know from the name Victoria.
Yes.
It's a big area. I think it would be about half the whole of England, and that is one diocese.
Mm-hmm. Wow, just one diocese?
Yes.
That's rather a large size.
Yes.
Now, does that mean that there is more than one bishop for that large area?
No, just one bishop, and I'm assisting him.
Yes. And how many clergy cover that large area then?
We have 25 full-time priests and 10 part-time.
And how many people are there in the whole diocese?
Over 3 million people.
25 priests for 3 million people?
Yes.
But you were saying, Bishop, that Tanzanian congregations are larger in part than English congregations. How are the services run if there aren't enough priests to go round then, the services?
Well, in every one priest may have several churches under him. And in each church there would be what at home we call a catechist or evangelist. And that would be running the church. The priest would normally be going round for Holy Communion and for baptism.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, the church is run by the catechist and some lay readers.
I see.
Yes.
How long have you been a bishop?
Nearly a year now.
Nearly a year?
Yes.
So that means that you were consecrated during 1973.
Yes, I was consecrated in 1973, July 17th.
That must have been a... Yes?
Oh, I'm very sorry. June 17th.
June the 17th. It's rather like a married couple. The man can't remember the date, but the woman can.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your consecration. We have some photographs of that service. I suppose that it was rather a wonderful occasion for you.
It was really wonderful. I had friends from all over the country, my relatives and friends from different parts, and the congregation was so great that we didn't have a church big enough to hold the congregation.
So this is why the photographs show that it was in the open air.
Yes, the consecration was in the open air.
Yes.
Only we praise the Lord
Yes.
that on that day everything was quiet. Although there were road and a train normally passes nearby, but we didn't have any disturbance and we had wonderful quiet service.
Well, now, you can't get a pipe organ to play for the hymns in the open air. What did you do?
Well, we don't have organs as you have here in every church. There are very few churches which have organs, even piano, not in fact organs, but pianos. Otherwise, they use sometimes accordion, and sometimes a group of choir use some of our own instruments, guitars and drums and things of that kind.
I see.
Yes.
One special guest at the consecration, besides the Archbishop of Tanzania and the other bishops, including the diocesan bishop. Now, the diocesan bishop is called Max Wiggins. Now, he isn't a Tanzanian, is he?
He's a New Zealander.
I see.
Yes.
And is he shortly due to retire?
I'm not sure.
I
He
see.
might retire, but that is not definite.
Yes. One special guest at your consecration, Bishop, was Job Lucindi, an old friend of yours and now a government official. Can you tell us a little bit about Job?
Well, he's a personal friend of mine. We were together at a school when we were young, 1943 to 1945. And then 1951 and 52, we were together at Makerere University College. And we've been friends all that time.
What government post does he hold now?
He is now Minister for Communication and Works.
I see.
Yes.
His presence at your consecration, does this mean, Bishop, that the church and the state in Tanzania work closely together?
Well, we do work together, but individually somehow. This Job Lucinde came simply because he's a personal friend of mine. But at the same time, he comes from a Christian family. His grandfather was among the converts in the region, in the area, and was a catechist. His father is a retired priest. His brother is a priest, and his cousin is a priest. So he somehow comes from a religious family.
I see.
Yes.
Well, now, Bishop, the Anglican Church in Tanzania isn't the only church there, is it? What other churches are working in your area, and how do you get on with them?
Well, we have the Roman Catholics, the African Inland Mission, the Mennonite. Well, with those we get on fairly well. We have got mutual understanding and respect with each other. There is no any enmity. We all understand that we are doing God's work, and there is a great desire to come together and work together.
I see.
We even find that even Muslims, we are not in bad relationship. We work together friendly.
Yes. You mentioned earlier on, Bishop, that your congregations are very much larger per proportion of the population than those in this country. What is it about the worship in Tanzania that brings people to church then?
Well, I think they love to hear the gospel, and to many it is a new thing. Many people are attracted to hear the good news. Perhaps it may be in this area, this country, Christianity has been for ages and people might be fed up with it. To us, it's a growing church. To some, the gospel they hear it for the first time, and it is really attractive. It's only lack of manpower, but people are eager to hear the gospel.
The photographs of the consecration that we've seen show a service, what I would term, joyfully uncluttered by all the religious paraphernalia that takes place in England. It looked a simple service, and yet you were dressed the same as English bishops and clergy. In what way are you different from the Anglican Church in this country?
Well, it would be in a way of music, but otherwise, as the order, we follow the 1662. So even
1662 prayer book.
A prayer book, yes. So that even the whole service was not different from what it would have been in England. Only that ours was in open air,
yes.
And choirs would have sung differently. There was freedom of singing, and they sang with African lively rhythm.
Yes.
Yes.
But is it possible to say about the Anglican Church in Tanzania that it's a little bit of old England left over from the colonial rule?
There would be some amount of truth in that, because we haven't changed our common prayers as so much. But of course, again, things change so rapidly. Recently, I received a letter. We are trying to have a common prayer book which unites both the high church and the low church. So the time I go back home, something may be different from what it was before I left.
Yes, I see.
Yes.
Bishop, you told the congregation at Holy Cross, when you were there at the family service, about your life before you became a bishop. Now, that seems interesting. You haven't always been a clergyman. What were you before you became a clergyman?
I was a school teacher, and for the last 12 and a half years, before June 73, I was a headmaster of a big primary school.
Yes. Whereabouts was that school?
That was in the Williamson Diamonds mine in Mwadui.
I shan't try and pronounce that.
About 90 miles away from Lake Victoria itself. Yes.
And this isn't the first time that you've been in England.
Well, 1964, about this time of the year, I came for a study tour of English primary school and secondary schools sent by the company for which I was working. Yes.
And then you've given all that up to become an Anglican bishop in Tanzania. Why have you done this thing?
Well, I felt that God called me. At first, I accepted the call to work as part-time priest. I found that was very nice, but I still felt God calling me to go into full ministry. And since I was convinced that it was God's will, I had to respond and so I had to give up my profession and take up the new ministry that the Lord wanted me to take.
I see.
Yes.
Well, now in England, we've just had the election of a new archbishop. Dr. Coggan of York is going to be the new Archbishop of Canterbury. And there was a lot of hue and cry about it, that the Prime Minister had some say on who was going to be the next bishop. Is it like that in Tanzania, that your government officials choose bishops?
Well, yours is your country has a state religion. We don't have a state religion. And the government only gives freedom of worship, but does not interfere in any way. So the state has nothing in the choice of the church ministers or the bishop.
Yes.
The congregation do choose in a different way.
Your wife Grace is here with you. How's she getting on with English cooking?
Well, I don't think that is a problem. She does cook what she can and is learning something new. And sometimes we do enjoy our own cookery. So sometimes she cooks in an African way, which we seem to enjoy very much.
Bishop John Rusmamalia, thank you very much for being with us.
Leicester Square on a Saturday night, going to the Lyceum, wanna get high. Led Zeppelin, few other bands, Eric Clapton about take a stand. Come on little baby, gonna tell the truth, where we're doing the West End rag. Doing the West End rag, all the West End rag, all the West End rag, all the West End rag. Come on little baby, gonna tell the truth, where we're doing the West End rag.